Welcome to the webinar. Um, so today, as you've all joined in, we are going to cover forms in more detail in WaveMaker, right? So let's not waste any more time and we'll get started, right? So a quick introduction first. So I'm Aditya and I handle pre-sales at WaveMaker. I also am joined by Sandeep and Saraswati. So Saraswati is part of our product team, and she will be walking you through the demo in more detail, and also giving you a complete overview into the forms, right? So I'm sure a couple of you have already gone through the demo quite extensively and have probably made a lot of progress. So using the platform. So the initial part of the presentation will be just covering or touching upon various features of WaveMaker and what the platform is capable of. And the last bit, or the last 20 minutes or 25 minutes, we will focus on the forms, followed by about 5 minutes of Q&A. Right. So stay tuned, everyone, and we'll get started.
So you can access WaveMaker from any browser and no installation required to access WaveMaker. So you can directly access WaveMaker from any browser of your choice. So this is the online version of the platform where I have logged in. And this portal that you see here is called the dashboard page, where you will be seeing all the user created projects. So once you sign up into WaveMaker, you will be seeing an empty list here. So as you start creating projects, your projects will be displayed here in the dashboard page. Now in this webinar, we'll see few basic features that are offered by the platform, which will be helpful in building any modern applications. So I've kept some sample applications ready to take you through the features. So let me open the application now. So this is an app which is built or designed for a company which sells its insurances to its client. So this app is built for two roles. One is sales manager and the other is sales representative. So the screen that you see here is called the studio and working environment, and the center of the part is called the canvas or the design area, where you will be designing the pages by simply drag and drop the widgets that are readily available here under widgets panel. So platform by default offers 100 plus widgets to work with. So any requirement can be met with the help of these widgets. So we have 100 plus widgets. So you can choose any one of the widgets based on your requirement. So any widget that you select in WaveMaker has their own set of properties. So you see, so I have selected a label here and it has some set of properties. And when it comes to the chat, it has some other set of properties, additional properties. So apart from these properties, platform also exposes event lifecycle and also style attributes to work with. So this app works out of database. So if you have any external database which is hosted on any server, then you can import your database from here under database panel, or you can even design your database from here. So once your so platform by default offers supports all relational databases, and once you import your database, platform identifies certain metadata and presents you the structure of the database in a neat ER diagram format by identifying tables, columns, foreign key references, and any other constraints if any. So you can import your database in editable mode or in a read-only mode. Like if you want your changes that you make here in the designer to be synced with your external database, then you have to import your database in an editable mode and vice versa. So if you have any procedures which are stored, which are present in your database, you can call your procedures here under procedure tab, and you can customize your queries based on your requirement, execute them and use as per your requirement. So as soon as you import your database, apart from identifying the metadata, platform also generates an APIs for the each entity, which follows Swagger standards. So as you see here, so each entity or a table that you select has their own set of endpoints. So these endpoints are basic CRUD operations, search, filtering, export, etc. So what is this export API? So the real-time data that is present in your database can be exported to Excel or CSV format. So as soon as you import your database, you can readily test your APIs from here. you can see the real-time data here in the editor tab. Now let's go and use these APIs in designing our pages. So let me check the data once. Let me import the data. So even if you have an SQL dumps, you can execute your database. You can execute a dump file here and then import your data. So you can see I have the data now here. So now let's see how we can execute, we can use these APIs in designing our pages. So I have a dashboard page here, and I have a chart here present in the dashboard page. So I wanted to display the sales trends for 1 year in this chart. So for that, so I would like to feed the, I will feed the chart with the data. So by creating I will feed the data to the chart by creating a new variable. So what are variables in WaveMaker? So variable is a glue between front end, or we can even say it as a data layer between front end and back end. So it interacts with the back end, gets you the data and feeds it to the widget. Now I will display the sales trends based on my sales table, which is present in my database. Now I will create a variable for this one. So now I will bind my data source to the sales entity. So as already said, platform will be fetching you the metadata, right? So now I will apply few aggregations on my chat. So based on my sales value. So as you see here, the x-axis is displaying default date formats, but I wanted to customize these x-axis date formats. So any complex widget in WaveMaker has an option called advanced settings. So you can customize your widgets from this option, from this dialog actually. So if you see here, the platform identifies the x-axis as a date type and displays you few date formats. So you can apply any one of the date format here. Let's preview this and see how this app will look, how the chart will be displayed in preview. So I will log in with my Sally Jones, who happens to be a sales manager. So as you can see here, the aggregations that I have applied on the chat are performed at the backend, and the response is displayed in the chat widget. So you can bind the chat not only to the database entities, but you can also pass your data source from any imported APIs like REST, SOAP, and etc. Assuring that the data that is written for the chat, making sure that the service variables returns you the expected data. Now let's see some other use case here. So here we see some existing customers. So I wanted to display, I have a use case where I would like to see the customer details whose policy renewals are soon approaching based on my sales value. So let's see that. And I wanted to display the upcoming policy details, customer details value in a tabular format. So I will drag and drop my table here onto the canvas, and you can pass the data source to the data table. It can be either the database or any existing variables that you have already created. So for now, I will, I already have a filter widget here. So I will bind this filter result to my data table. So platform has the capability of identifying whether your data source that you have chosen has a capability of performing CRUD operations or not. So if yes, then you can perform your CRUD operations by choosing any one of these data table templates. So you can either perform the CRUD operations using form as dialog, form as below template, or inline editable or quick edit template, which is similar to an Excel. So for now, I will select a simple view only. And yeah, pagination. So data in the database might be very huge, right? So you can you wanted your data to be displayed in a paginated format. Then you can choose any one of these pagination types. So for now, I will choose none. And so these are the fields that are identified by the platform for the sales entity. So I will not display all, but I will select only few here. And yeah, done. So somehow I have added 2 columns in my data table, but somehow I wanted to add one more column into this data table. So how to make those customizations on the table? So as already said, Complex Widgets in Wavemaker has an option called Advanced Settings to customize your widget. You can make those customizations from here in this dialog. So you can apply filtering, searching, or you can also export the filtered data to an Excel or CSV. Now I will like to add the customer name in the data table. But the customer name might not be directly available in a sales table, right? But it might be available under some references. So platform also identifies all the reference entities metadata and displays it for the selected data source. So let me rename the title of the column, and let me push this up. And as sales is a numeric field, I wanted to display this as a currency format. So I will select the currency format here, and yeah, save. So you can see here the new column which I have added is displayed, and the currency, the sales data is also displayed in the currency format. Now we can see here in the preview. So as you see here, based on my sales, when I am changing my sales value, the data in the data table is also getting changed. That is because the sales value which you are filtering here, the filtered value will be sent to the backend, returns you the filtered data from the backend, and displays it in the data table. So here we can see the widget interaction between 2 Wavemaker widgets without writing a single line of code. Now let's see some other use case here. Okay. So till now we have seen interaction between Wavemaker widgets, right? So I have some other use case here where these are the sales representatives details which are present inside this, which are displayed in a list format. So I wanted to display their location here under this location panel using some Google Maps. So in order to do that, we need some third-party plugins to integrate, right? So for that, we have a mechanism called prefabs in Wavemaker. So what are prefabs? Prefabs are reusable components. Similar to a Wavemaker widget, you can build your own UI component. For example, if you like any jQuery widget, then you can wrap it in a prefab and expose a life cycle, expose properties for that particular UI component, and you're good to go. So, so now I will drop my Google Maps here. So as the requirements might be endless, right? So you can design your own UI components. Now I will pass the location value from this sales representative selected item. Let me bind that location. So this is a mother binding dialog, which is an important dialog in Wavemaker. Like this dialog has all the resources that are present in this page. So for now, I will select my reps list selected item. Now I will bind value. So I will plot the cities based on my city value. So this is a metadata, right? So I will choose city from my metadata. So as this Google Maps required some API key, let me give that API key. And let's preview this. Let me log in again. So if you see here, by default, Amanda Brown, sales executive, is selected by default, and her location New York is selected by is pointed on the map. So if you change your selected item, then the particular location will be selected. If you select, so you can see the values pointed here. So here I have successfully integrated some third-party UI plugin, and also the third-party UI component is also interacting with Wavemaker widgets. So you can build your own prefabs and use it across multiple applications. Now let me show you the power of some of how responsive it is. When you select any other device type, you could let me select any one of this mobile type. So you could see you could see it automatically. It changes its layout, and you can also see the left panel is also displayed for switching between the pages. So you can see how responsive is this. So, and also the list widget that is shown, that is by default, the list of sales representatives that we have seen in a full screen mode is not shown in here. So that is, and also we see some search box here which will search for and their particular and the respective location will be plotted here in a maps. How I am hiding that particular widget in mobile device? That is because that you can make it from here. So you can select any one of this list widget, the widget that you wanted to hide hide on different devices, and you can configure it from here. So this list widget, so I'm displaying it in a tablet and laptop and large screens, and not in mobile. So that's why you are not seeing it in a mobile view. So let me switch back to a full screen mode. Before covering some other use cases, let's see the structure of the project when you have this app handy. So as already said, the platform identifies the metadata, right? In order to identify the metadata, the platform generates code for each entity, which you can browse it here under File Explorer panel. So as you can see here, so under services, I have my database service. So I will open my, so as you can see here, for each entity, a plain Pojo objects are generated. So this is so let me make it large. So this is a plain object model like a Pojo, which is a user understandable written Pojo class. And you even have a DAO class generated for each entities. And also on top of this, we have a service implementation class, and also a REST controller class. So these are the methods that you that are used to present you the REST interface. So these are the APIs that that you will be working with. And also on top of this, we even have a Swagger file generated. So the output of the Swagger will be a list of APIs, which we have already seen while interacting with this API designer. Okay, now let me touch you some other concepts here. So platform supports one-click deployment. So I already had this app deployed. So you can make your app customizations and make it live from here under deployed apps portal. So this is called a deployed apps portal. You can configure your app or make it live by deploying your app to any one of these popular providers. So platform by default supports these popular providers. And yeah, Kubernetes deployment is also supported out of the box. And yeah, everyone wants their apps to be secured, right? So platform follows all OWASP 10 standards, and like XSS, preventing XSS attacks, and CORS enablement like extreme options, and like CSRF tokens and all. So you can authenticate, you can secure your app by configuring any one of these security providers. So as a platform by default provides these security providers like auth, Active Directory of any organization. You can configure it from here, CAS, SAML. So, and you can select any one of these security providers and make your app secure. And also you can also we want to safeguard our APIs behind the firewall, right? So all the services that are present in that are used while building this app will be displayed here. So you can secure them here. So this is not only limited to the database. So you can secure your single API using this by applying this access levels. So this is not only applied for services, we can even secure your pages. And and you can also hide your widgets for based on particular role from this properties panel. So if you want to hide this widget for a manager role and wanted to display it only for the user role, then you have to check this option. So it will be so this particular widget will be displayed only for the user role. So this is not only limited to the widgets. So every minute to minute corner in a complex widgets can be you can apply this access rules. So let me show you some other example here. So I have this complex widget data table. So if you go under advanced settings, you can see here. So this data table has some actions like row actions. So you can say you can also make you can also apply these access roles from here for the actions present in your data table. So this is not only limited to actions, so you can even apply it for columns as well. So you can hide. So this particular column is shown only for the manager, and these other columns are showed for everyone. So for manager role and sales representative role, so these columns are displayed, and this profile and reps name is displayed only for the manager role. So so platform supports RBAC, so role based access control is also supported in Wavemaker. And internationalization is also supported, so you can manage your languages here, add your local messages here, and bind it to a widget, and you are good to go. So so as already said, like you can work in small teams, right? So you can collaborate your project with other users by getting the changes from the other user, like using a pull changes. If you want to push your changes to the other collaborated user, then you can push your local changes to the other user, so that your changes will be reflected to the other user, and you can resolve your conflicts from here. So, and you can also push your app to any one of this like any one of the external repo like GitHub, Bitbucket, and GitLab and profiles. So if you want to launch the same application on different servers or environment, then you can configure your environment variables from here. Like there might be a use case like if we wanted to connect to some database in a development environment, and to some other database in live phase, then you can configure your properties from here. This is not only limited to database, so each and every service that we have can be configured from here. And you can export your project as var with any one of these given any one of these configured role configured profiles, and you can deploy your application on any server like WebLogic, WebSphere, JBoss, etc. You can export your project as zip as well. And yeah, so you can also import your so apart from databases, you can also import your REST APIs from here. And you can also, if you have any WSDL files, or if you have any SOAP service, you can import it from here, and you can connect your WebSocket, if any, from this dialog, from this web services section. And if you have any, like we have already deal with Swagger, right? So if you have any API suite that supports Swagger, or if you have any Swagger file, you can import all those APIs from here under imported APIs. So you can provide the Swagger URL, or you can also choose the Swagger file. Even though if there are hundreds of APIs, you can import all of them in a one shot. And you can similarly create variables for those imported Swagger APIs, and you can design your pages. And if you have any business logic to be written from at the backend, then you can create a Java service, create a new Java service from here, and you can write your business logic here. And yeah, so till now we have seen building so this is a web application, right? So similarly, you can build your mobile application, and generate an IPA or an APK, and install it on any device, or you can also publish your application to Play Store. And also we have a feature that allows support for offline data, like you can import insert or update, or you can perform CRUD operations on the entity on in offline mode, and sync your data changes, I mean data inserted when you are back to online into the database. So till now we have seen a short demo or features on this offered by the platform. Right now, we'll limelight more on forms, like what are forms, and how to deal with forms, and how to submit the data to the server using forms, and customizations on form elements. Now let me open some other application. Like this is an employee registration application designed for an organization, where employee will enter his details when joining an organization. So let's get into the application. So what are forms in general? So forms in general consist of group of input fields. Using form widget, one can enter data or display the data using forms. And based on your data source, you can design forms to contain text fields, drop downs, checkboxes, etc. Also, you can validate data entered into the fields, into the form fields. Now let's see different use cases to work with forms. So this app has a database, so which is a HR database. So I have three tables here. One is employee, one is department, and the next is employee, and I have this address details, address entities. Now now I will now we'll use this employee table. So forms. So how we'll see how to perform basic CRUD operations on forms. So live form can be bound to a database through CRUD variables to perform all CRUD operations on the database entity. So I will drag and drop my live form. I will select the database employee entity for now. So you can see this is a metadata present for displayed for fetched for the employee entity. So I will click on next, and then how you would like to display your form fields in a one column layout, or two column layout, or a three column layout. So for now I will select one column layout and choose this positioning. And these are the form fields for the employee. Okay, now done. Now let's see the app in preview. So this is my employee registration form. So as you see here, so the department which is having the employee table, which is having a reference with the department, is displayed with a numeric fields. But I wanted to display this as a department names. And also here we see we have a gender field, which is a text box. So I wanted to customize these widgets now. So as already said, we can customize these widgets from advanced settings dialog. So if the field is having a foreign key reference with a, uh parent table, then you will see these extra columns. So if you select any other role, only the conditional classes and widget types are displayed. But as this department is a reference table, then you will be seeing an extra fields here. So I will display the department using a name. And also for gender, I will select radio set. So for now, I'm giving a static values here, but you can even bind this to any one of the data source. Now let's see this in preview. So as you can see, the radio set is displayed, and also for department, the department names are displayed. So you can enter the data into these fields, and so birth date, you can even have a, you can select any one of these dates, and job title, support lead, Amanda Brown, tenant ID, username. So you can customize this field to be displayed as a password field. Like passwords generally displays with a dot format, right? You can customize that as well. So user role. So the record has been inserted successfully into the database. So this, if the same life form is bound to any other widget selected item, like we have seen the seeing a use case of location maps, right? So I have bind that map to the list selected item. So if this form is bound to any data table selected item or a list selected item, then the same form can be used for used to edit the data, edit the records that are present in the database. Now let's see some other use case here. So database CRUD are done. So conditional flows in forms. So now how to build a smart forms. So how to make the form fields interact with some other fields when some condition is met. For example, how to disable the form fields, or how to show or hide a form fields based on some condition, or based on some other field values. So here I have a username, and also I have a first name and last name fields. So by default, I wanted this username to display the values of this first name entered value and last name entered value. For that, I will open the bind dialog here, and under forms, under form widgets. So I will select the first name. Now I will concatenate these two fields using a dot format. So I will again select the last name data value. So when you enter the values into this first name and last name field, automatically the username field will be filled. And I wanted to even both, if the username or last name field is not filled, then I would like to ask the username field value to be entered from the user. So I will apply read only when my first name field is not equal to null, and my last name field is not equal to null. So if I do not have a first name field, then I should ask user to fill the username field. So that's why I am binding this one. So now let's see in preview how the interaction between the widgets is happening. So as you see here, the first name is not yet filled. Okay. So now I will apply. Now I will enter this first name and last name. So if you see here, I'm unable to enter. So this field has been changed into read-only mode. And if I remove any one of this field, then or if I remove any one of this field, then we can enter the value into the field. And you can even disable if by default you can also apply some other conditional based logics, like you can disable the fields, you can show or hide the fields, and you can even apply required validations on fields based on when some conditional logics. So now validations in forms. So what are validations? So validation is a common process of checking the value when given by the user, so that user can enter valid data. Now let's go ahead and implement few validations in WaveMaker for form fields. So for first name, I'm enabling this required field validation. So enter first name or first name required. And I also have an email field. Let me give some regular expression here. And not a valid email. Now let's see how these validations are applied on form fields. So when you do not enter your the value into the form field, then you see the error message is getting displayed, like first name is required. And for email, so if it is empty, you see an error. If it is not a valid email, you see an error. So we see applying basic validations on form fields. Now let's move on to the other topic, like custom validations. So till now we have seen applying basic validations on form fields, right? Now we'll see some other use cases here. Like here in a preview, when the value is empty, I see not a valid email. And when I enter some random value, you see not a valid email. But I wanted to show different error messages based on my user inputs. So for that, we have a DSL approach platform offers DSL validations to handle such use cases. So what are these DSL validations? So I will remove all these validations now, which are applied for the fields. Let's clear it off. Okay. Now what is DSL approach? So you can write your custom script here to handle the validations. So platform by default has exposed a few methods to handle a few validations. So I have some script already kept ready. So platform exposes some validated constant here. So you can apply the email, you can apply the, you can use the set validators method on the email field. So here you see so this set validators accepts a list of objects. So here, if you see, I have given a required error message for the required type, and if my regex for my regex type, I have given some other error message here, and also in preview we have a password field here. So there might be a cases during registration where it asks for a password and confirm password, right? Now we'll add one more custom field here. So you can add your custom fields, but this will not be this field value will not be sent along with the request payload. So I have added this custom field, and let me choose it as a text box. So so both the validations, like password and confirm password field value should match, right? So for that we are applying some script here. So what is this? So as set validators method is accepting a list of objects, it also accepts of functions. or methods that you have that you can be that you have written. So here I'm giving my I have written a function here which has the logic of, if my password field value does not matches with a confirm field value, then I'm throwing an error message like password and confirm password are not same. And also I'm observing this confirm password field on password field, because if any one of the field value is mismatched, then I should show this error message on confirm password field. And also we for any email we will add one more validation here. So if there might be a cases where the entered email value already exists in the database, then we have to throw some error. So how to handle such cases like server side validations in wavemaker. So platform exposes a method called async validator, set async validator. So set async validator accepts a functions. So set as a this async validations has returns the promises actually. So you can based on your so what I'm doing here, I'm fetching a query count if my email past email field value if exists in the database. If my count value is 0, then I'm resolving the promise, and if it is not equal to 0, then I'm throwing an error message saying email already exists, please try once, try a new one. Now let's preview this and see how these new DSL validations are working on forms. So the first validation is checking different error messages for different field inputs, right? So when I do not give any input, so it throws email required error message. And if I enters a random string, then it tells like it is not a valid email, because the regex is not matching with the entered value is not matching with this regex. So this error message is thrown. And I have a value called Ericlin. So in the database, so if I enter the email which is already present in the database, then it throws error like this, like email already exists, please try a new one. So the server side validations are also supported in wavemaker. So here okay, so I have a password field here and I have a confirm password field here. You can adjust these form fields order from here under advanced settings. So let's move this confirm password field up. So password. So if I give it tells where password and confirm password are not same. So if I enter the same value, then the error message is not shown. Even if I change the password value, the error message is shown on the confirm password field, because this confirm password field is observing on this password field. Okay, which is this observe on method, observe on DSL approach method exposed. And for password fields, you can even display it as a password type using by changing its input types. So if you see, the passwords will be represented as a dotted format. So in this way, you can even prevent viewing of your passwords. So custom validations are also done. Now form with wizard. So sometimes it is better to separate a large form into different sections, right? So if you see there is a large form, but there might be cases where the form may contain 20 to 30 fields. So it is a simple form may not require steps, but whereas the large or complex forms may require the use of several steps for better UI experience. So in order to handle that, we can drop a wizard widget onto the form. categorize your wizard steps based on your form fields, and you can simply cut and paste. So for example, I have this first wizard step to be a personal details step. Then I will rename my step with this, and I will move or cut paste your form fields into this wizard steps. So you can cut paste your form fields into this wizard steps like this. So just to save the time, I have already created a form with wizard steps. So if you can see here, I have a form with 4 different steps. Now let's preview this and preview this page and see how the steps will be looking in preview. So you see a form containing multiple steps. So if you enter Amanda, and if after filling this, if you click on next, you see some progress in forms. So it would be better to separate large forms into different fields, but there might be a cases. So if you have a large forms, the user might enter few fields and drop off from the form submission, right? So in this way, the user feels that some progress is happening in the form, and some details are already entered. So we can handle this form with wizard steps in this way. Let's see the last one, repeatable sections in forms. So now I have a use case that I wanted to bulk insert the data into the tables while inserting the parent, like in a single transaction. So here I have a table with called employee. So address is referenced with an employee. So while entering the details, the employee details, I wanted to bulk insert the address details. Like there might be a case of residential address and postal address, right? We wanted to insert both the address details. So for that, we will. So in my last step, we will drag and drop a form and bind this to my address type, which is present in the database, and enable this list, because I have to insert multiple address details, right? So I will be accepting this as a list type. So this form is present inside the list widget, because to iterate the forms. So when we click on this add address, add another address, so a new set of form will be displayed here. So and as this list is present inside this parent form, you can insert this child like address details information along with the parent along with the employee details in a single transaction or in a single network call. So we'll enter some details here. So you can apply validations here. So I will select the gender, and these are the job description details, and I will fill my user details here. And so now I will be adding my address details here. So street 1, Alaska, US, type residential type. I will add another address. So when you click on this add new address, so a new form is displayed in a list. So a new list item is displayed along with a form. So I will insert this as a postal address. Now I will click on done. So if you see here, if you see the request payload here, so the address details, the child information is sent along with this parent fields, like the employee details. So along with these employee details, the address details are also sent in a single request payload. Yeah, I'm done with the demo of forms as well. So if we have any Q&A, Aditya, we can take them now.
Yeah, thank you, Saraswati. So we do have a queue. I mean, we have some questions. One of them is basically asking about accessibility, right? And it's talking about assigning a role to a radio group, attribute the container to specific radio buttons. Is that possible?
You can customize your radio widget. Like we have I will create a sample page, radio set. So you can customize your radio set template. We have an option to customize the, so instead of this radio options, giving statically or binding it here, you can design your template here like this. So you can customize your radio widget templates or container to be displayed along with the other details instead of static values. So you can have this. So we already have a documentation for this. We can check that doc.
The other question we have is, what are the runtimes supported by WaveMaker?
Runtimes you mean servers?
Yes, I mean, I'm guessing the question is around servers. I don't think
okay.
It is
If it is the servers, then we support Tomcat, WebSphere, WebLogic, JBoss, and Liberty, etc. So you can deploy your var. You can generate your var out of any profile, and you can deploy it on any server of your choice.
Yeah. The other question is around having a grid view widget instead of a list.
So we have a grid layout. Is it that they are asking?
I think instead of a list, I mean, like I think the form that you had was was basically like a row list, right? I think your form, which has got panels not only on the left but also on the right to fill. I think rows and columns both.
Okay, for that you have a so I will okay. I will remove my wizard widget. So this is my one column layout, right? So which will be displaying in a single grid view. So you can customize your options here. So the form will be displaying in a 3-column layout. So you can customize your forms to be displayed in multiple columns from this option that we have in our WaveMaker.
Thank you. I think there's one more last question, and I think it has to do with reusing an existing Angular component. Basically, can I import my form created in Angular into WaveMaker and build a custom or use a custom widget, which is not out of the box?
Yes. So if you want to build your own widget apart from the WaveMaker widget, then you can create a prefab project similar to the project. You have an ability to create a prefab projects. So you have to integrate that UI component or a jQuery widget, wrap it in a prefab and expose a lifecycle, event lifecycle or properties that are required for that particular widget, and you're good to go. Once you publish, it will be available under this prefab section.
I think the question is slightly different. I think the question is more around if the Angular component, which is built, let's say it's in an older version, right? Can that be imported?
Yes, it can be either a jQuery or an Angular. We can wrap it in a prefab and they can use it, Aditya.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's all the questions we have. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. For whatever unanswered questions are there, we'll try and answer that too. Thank you, and hope to see you next time.